gets a sense of the size, the scale of the work. Yeah, so you can actually see the scale of these things. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to bring a piece about the Chinese railroad workers that I just finished. And I'm doing a lecture at the 26th at the City Council. Yeah, at the city. No, it's at City Hall, right? Yeah, so I'm going to give a talk, but the unveiling of that piece, and the most important thing about that piece, about the Chinese railroad workers, is that it's actually about a protest they did back in 1867. So when I started researching this and doing this project about this piece, I realized that it's pretty profound. You know, can you guys hear me without the mic? Can you guys hear me without the mic? Yeah, I'll do it without the mic. It's pretty amazing because what I'm trying to shed a light on is that Asians were protesting from day one when they got to the United States. So anybody that says, you know, like Asians put their head down, they don't make trouble, but I call this good trouble.
Oh yeah.
Right, so again, take a look at the pieces. This is the scale. I think the San Jose Museum owns this piece, and this piece was in the SF Chronicle 2 years ago, and also was exhibited at the Jiang Museum. And they just bought this piece, the Jiang Museum did. So I kind of like to mix it up with like hot dogs,
Food, yeah.
baseball, French fries. I love that stuff. Yeah, intentionally upside down. It's right side up. There's 9/11.
Oh. Yes.
There's Pill Valley.
Pill
That's
Valley.
like Silicon Valley. We got COVID. So yeah. So my name's Evri Kwong. I was born in San Francisco, raised in the Bay Area. I went to art school at the San Francisco Art Institute. My parents were kind of, well, they're hippies, but they would prefer beatniks. They had a lot of artists and writer friends. And, you know, it's interesting, when these white folks would come to the house, and this was in a long time ago, in Marin, they would say, "Power to the people, black is beautiful, and long live China." And, you know, I was a young kid then, and I thought that was really weird, you know, back then. And this is probably early 70s, but it's interesting because I feel like those words are relevant right now. And so I'm excited to really just share this work with you all, and actually kind of thinking about truth. I guess I've been thinking about truth. And when I asked my parents to tell me any family stories or what happened to them and how they came here, they don't want to talk about it. So when I asked my uncle, I said, "What happened to my family when they came here?" He said, "Why do you want to dredge up the past? I thought we were past this. We want to forget about that." And I can understand his generation wanting to forget that stuff. But you know, I have a daughter now. She's 14, she's 15, she made it through her first year in high school, got a full ride to a private school. And I told my uncle then, I said, she's got to know this stuff because it wasn't that long ago. And here's the interesting irony of all this. I actually feel liberated and calm and actually to know the truth. So for example, my grandmother was detained at Angel Island. And I think I remember my mom saying that Angel Island was the Ellis Island of the West Coast.
Yes, yes.
And I'm kind of going like, oh no, that's not right. Yeah, and then another example would be that my grandfather, who was a Chinese herb doctor, so he moves into Palo Alto. This is 1950s. And he gets, the neighbors didn't like that. And they signed a petition, they tried to force him out. And my grandfather says, "We ain't going anywhere, we're here." And after that, they would get rocks thrown at their windows. They'd get their Christmas tree display trashed, although they were Buddhists. But those are the things that actually happened to them. My grandfather was also a Chinese herb doctor. And back in those days, it was kind of like hocus pocus to the white people. And I thought that was very interesting. So what I'm trying to do is use my artwork in a way to shed light on things that I never really knew. And so that's my goal. And it could be any issue. It could be about women's rights. It could be about anything that I feel strongly about. So I'll do it about African Americans, Native tribes, 9/11, pill industry. Could be anything about Vincent Chin. What's great about this month, June, it's Pride month, right? It's also the month when the railroad strike happened in 1867. It's also Tiananmen Square. Yes. It's also Vincent Chin. I was thinking about this and I was going, wow, that's really cool. What?
A lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. And this is the first time that I've actually shared this to the community here. And it's really wonderful. And this event, and actually it's interesting because when I was working on this piece of the Chinese railroad workers, Sue was in the San Rafael Public Library. I don't know what she was doing on the computer, and I don't even know how we met, but we just struck up a conversation, and that was what, a month ago, maybe a month ago. So it's just an interesting happening of chance that I'm here, and I want to thank everybody here for coming out and the organization, and hopefully I can kind of do something.
I have a question. What's on your shirt?
This is about ending domestic violence. So if you don't, a lot of the moms in Marin, they love this T-shirt. But when they actually looked at it really closely, they said, oh my God, my son's going to get kicked out of school if he wears this to school. But it actually is about ending domestic violence.
Exactly.
And one of the people that is very behind me in this is the Swig family. She actually, I actually did donate some work for her causes, but she's not doing that organization anymore, but she was doing it a lot in the 90s. So, I meet all kinds of interesting people, and but it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle.
Yeah, I really like it that you educate more people, especially here in California, about the Chinese doing a lot of contribution here, especially building the railroad.
Oh yeah.
If the Chinese people, immigrants, were not here,
yeah, and they did that.
Way behind the railroad
that's true.
system.
And even the grape strike.
Yeah.
Think about the grape strike, and what is that?
Yeah.
In 1965, this Larry Young, black guy. Yes, I didn't even know this. And apparently, I guess, is it true that he actually went to Cesar Chavez?
Yeah.
And he said, we got to work together. But you know what Cesar said? Well, I don't know if we're going to do this. But then he changes his mind and realizes if we don't band together, we're never going to. So this is the important part, is that every group needs to reach across to everybody else. That's a big thing. And understand one struggle is everybody's struggle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all connected.
We should unite. Yeah. Right.
It's not your community or my community.
Yeah, it's our community,
right.
Asian community. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So my name Evri comes from actually a boat, and it was called the Evri Man. And it actually sailed out from the Sausalito Bay to the Pacific Ocean to protest nuclear bomb testing. So I thought that was really weird. At first, when I had Evri as a name when I was a little kid, why couldn't I be John or Steve? And now, now I just love the name. And apparently, the guy Jackson Brown, the rock star, I think he did a song called Every Man. So I have to go find that record wherever it is. So there's a lot of really interesting things. Just about being in society, actually I love being in Marin, even though Marin wasn't, or it's changed, I guess you could say, from the time I was here for a short stint when I was probably like 10. Yeah, so back then, Marin was way different. It was when there was like wheat germ, soy milk, A lot of strobe lights, a lot of LSD, and a lot of marijuana. I think that really bothered me.
Especially
But my parents, who had these crazy ass parties, they would have all these people come over. And it's an interesting thing because my parents were really hooked into the writers and all kinds of intellectual thinkers. And then, so I remember as a kid meeting a lot of interesting people, but you know, I was just a kid then. So I didn't really I just wanted to go play or make drawings. But right now I really feel great about the work that I'm doing now, and that it's connected to the past and where we are now. And that hopefully, you know, there's got to be pushback. Otherwise, you know, we're not gonna have a system. And so that's the great feeling that I feel right now. But in some ways it's weird because I really see this connection from the 1960s to right now. And I think about the younger generations, like my daughter who's 15, you know, and what they're going through. They're going through a lot. Yeah. Although it doesn't feel that way, but they actually are. So that's why I want to, hopefully parents or people, or even myself, I guess, when I think about my kid, like if they're not doing enough, you know, I have to kind of take a pause and realize, wow, they went through COVID, they're going through this intense time with all these crazy laws against humanity that are just unbelievable. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Well, thank you very much for listening.
We actually have time if people